93 Boxing, I'm back with a quick video. Eddie Hearn is saying that the Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko rematch is next. And he's saying there's many offers on their way, not just in the UK, but also in Las Vegas, in Nigeria, in Lagos, in Nigeria. Lagos, I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, yeah, in Nigeria, in Dubai. And you know what? I personally think the rematch will be a better option for Anthony Joshua than fighting a BC level fighter, because chances are Deontay Wilder fight is not going to happen anytime soon. Simply because huge fights sometimes take a while to happen, and I feel like I'd rather see Anthony Joshua against a few other high level opposition before fighting Deontay Wilder. That will be like the biggest fight in heavyweight boxing, probably, unless Tyson Fury comes back and does some crazy shit. Because, you know, if Anthony Joshua ends up fighting like a Joseph Parker, who we know is not as good as Klitschko, or like a Povetkin level fighter, who, you know, they're good fighters, but they're not as good as Klitschko. They're not as good as Wilder. We know this. It doesn't prepare Anthony Joshua for a Wilder. I know Klitschko doesn't necessarily prepare him for a Wilder either, but you're fighting an A-level fighter. You're fighting a guy with huge amount of experience. You're fighting a guy who sparred with Klitschko as well. I mean, and I'd rather see Anthony Joshua against more A-level fighters before going to Wilder than less A-level fighters. It will give him the experience. This is something people don't understand. It will give him the experience. See, someone like Kell Brook, who, you know, it will be a challenge for him mentally. It's always a challenge for him to challenge for anyone to come back from big defeats. I think it'll be a bigger challenge for him because he's never been faced with this type of adversity, because early on in his career he hasn't really fought these type of high level oppositions. So obviously, I wish him nothing but the best, but that's the honest truth. I would rather see Anthony Joshua not fight B-level fighters. And, you know, in terms of offers being made in different parts of the world, I'd rather see Anthony... I mean, even though I'm from the UK, I'd rather see Anthony Joshua in the UK in one way. However, and this is a big however, for Anthony Joshua's best... for the best of his career, I'd rather see Anthony Joshua probably abroad. You know, a lot of UK fans think, oh, you know, like someone like Amir Khan, for example. I had someone telling me Amir Khan abandoned the UK fans. When was the last time he fought someone in the UK? Well, it's very hard for people to get him in the UK. I mean, can you imagine trying to get Canelo in the UK? Would he even say yes? Like, are we that deluded? And at the same time, you know, we can say Amir Khan was not representing the UK, but he abandoned the UK, but at the same time he represented the UK while he was abroad. Anthony Joshua will do the same if he fights in Nigeria, if he fights in Dubai, if he fights in Vegas. I'd rather see in any one of those three spots. You know, America is huge. Vegas will not be a problem. But at the same time, I think UAE could be huge as well. I don't think if Anthony Joshua fights there, that will be the biggest fight ever in UAE. And UAE never had huge fights that I can think of at the moment. And if Anthony Joshua does it in Nigeria, because we have to keep in mind, Muhammad Ali went to fight in Africa. He fought many different parts of the world, right? It'd be quite historic if Anthony Joshua goes back there to Nigeria. I don't think Africa has had a huge fight like that in a time. I mean, I can't remember the last time Africa had a huge fight since the Muhammad Ali fight. I mean, I must have missed something out. Surely there has to be some decently big fights after the Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman, I believe. I mean, I can't remember the exact events that took place in that. I remember that's the only event I remember from Africa, the only boxing event. So I think Anthony Joshua going back there, plus, you know, he does have Nigerian heritage, will be huge. Dubai will be huge as well, as I said. And plus, it would be good for him. I think the tax is very low. And America would be huge. It's good to expand your fan base. And I think you know, people, even if he doesn't fight here in the UK often, it doesn't matter. He's still representing the UK. He'll still be bringing the UK flag. He's like, let's be real. He'd be bringing the UK fans all over there. He's basically making himself international. and that's all he was doing. I personally think Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko rematch will be very good. Both fighters here's the thing, right? Anthony Joshua, some people thought Anthony Joshua did not look as good as he should have. And I wasn't surprised with the performance. I thought the performance was pretty good for Anthony Joshua. He did pretty well. He did as well as I thought in terms of skills. I thought Klitschko was more skilled, but Joshua had the power. Even though Klitschko had power too. I just thought Joshua had more power. And I also think that they both have advantage and disadvantage, and Klitschko showed that he can hurt Joshua. He showed that he can pretty much outbox Joshua. I had Klitschko winning the fight until the knockout. And so the thing is, Anthony Joshua knows more about Klitschko now, and Klitschko knows more about Joshua now. Joshua has a bit more experience than he did before. He probably won't be nervous knowing that he's going up to fight an A-level fighter, or at least not as nervous as before maybe. I mean, surely you got to be a bit nervous knowing that you're fighting this guy who's dominated boxing for like about a decade. So I think he'll be a lot less nervous, probably a bit more confident. Yeah. And he still has the youth on his side. He just has a bit more experience and he'll be a bit more confident. But Klitschko probably also has confidence in him because he's been, in my opinion, he's been like getting the better of Joshua apart from those knockouts, the knockdowns. And also he's been able to drop Joshua. He hurt Joshua, right? So I feel like they both might be a bit more confident. Klitschko, keep in mind, right? Klitschko was coming off a how long layoff? He came off, there was a Tyson Fury problem Klitschko had. Klitschko lost against Tyson Fury. He was coming off a loss and a huge layoff. Huge layoff. Now, obviously, he's coming off a knockout loss. But in this knockout loss, he had great success, though. He still had a lot of success. And the layoff, there's a lot, when did he fight again? He fought at like April? Late April, right? 28th April. So if he fights, let's say in November, December, which I think Eddie Hearn's talking about roughly, this means that Klitschko won't have as much of a layoff as he did previously. So he won't be as rusty. So that's also a positive for Klitschko. Klitschko will probably retire after this fight. Let's say hypothetically, if he beats Anthony Joshua, I'm not picking a winner here. If he beats Anthony Joshua, then hey, what else is there to achieve? Unless you want to go ahead and beat Deontay Wilder or try and beat Deontay Wilder. But if Klitschko loses to Joshua, then I guess it's time for him to retire because that means Joshua will have 2 wins on him. It'll be a meaningful fight. I mean, a lot of people think they don't want to see the fight, but this is a meaningful fight. And as I mentioned, it will prepare Joshua more for the Wilder fight. I don't know what Deontay Wilder's doing, man. I mean, I know he's been trying to get these fights, but he really needs to step his game up in terms of getting these opponents. I know he has a few injuries in there. He was unlucky with the Povetkin situation. But at the same time, I feel like if Joshua can beat Klitschko the second time as well, Deontay Wilder doesn't deserve Joshua if that happens. If Joshua can beat Klitschko twice, Deontay Wilder, in my honest opinion, even though I want to see that fight happen, and even though I think that's a 50-50 fight, some days I lean towards Wilder. And to be honest, most days nowadays I've been leaning towards Wilder. Even though I think it's a 50-50 fight, the fact is, if Joshua beats Klitschko twice convincingly, he is the A side in the situation. He probably doesn't even deserve, Deontay Wilder probably doesn't even deserve to fight Anthony Joshua. Straight up, that's my honest opinion. I'm not hating on the man. I actually enjoy Deontay Wilder's style more than Anthony Joshua's style. I obviously support Anthony Joshua more than Deontay Wilder, him being from the UK. They both seem like nice human beings. So when it comes to personality and everything, there's nothing to hate on each other's side. They both seem humble when they need to. And also Joshua said, if I was Klitschko, I would retire, leaving on a high note, because he also made this good point that whenever a person fights me, any little bit of success they have with me, they leave the ring as a winner. Which is interesting because the last time we had a person to have that type of implications on the opponent, where opponent, no matter, even if they have a little bit of success, even if they lose, they come out of the ring as winner. We remember Floyd Mayweather versus Marcus Maidana. We remember all that when Marcus Maidana had he did well in the first fight, and in the second fight I thought he did pretty well, but the fact that he did have a little bit of success, he was, people put a crown on him. He felt like a winner. They picked him up, carried him around and stuff. I mean, I guess Anthony Joshua, is he the next Floyd Mayweather in a way? Not in terms of skills, no. But in terms of name value, pay-per-view attraction, he might be the next Floyd Mayweather. He's definitely UK's Floyd Mayweather. 93 boxing, I'm out.